first because it is a competitive environment. So I wish every day started at 4 o'clock because that's when I start to think about how we can do good in the world, but I got to get the rest done first.
With that, I'd love to see if any of you have questions for anybody up here. We've got 2 mics, so just raise your hand and we'll have someone head over towards you. Let's go 1 and then 2.
Dave, I'm curious to hear a little bit about what you think are the major strategic issues facing WBR today, and then what you think are the major strategic choices you see over the next 3 to 5 years as you begin to do things like scaling. Is this complexity in your supply chain, driving down economics of the bike specifically, something else? Just curious to kind of hear about those 2 specific things.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. I think the biggest challenge that we face, as I said, is how do we get to scale? And how can we tell more people about that? So it is scaling up our social enterprise. So really excited about how the Buffalo Bicycle Shops strategy is working, the direct-to-consumer. By the end of this year, we'll have over 20 shops. That's mainly in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Malawi. So that, to me, is exciting because that's really serving that end user with the valuable transportation that they need. You know, as we look at country expansion, because that's another way of sort of looking at growth, we look at it through a Venn diagram. So 3 different lenses. The first being, where can we have the greatest impact? Where can bicycles really make a difference? The second is a word we made up called implementability. It's in areas where, you know, in mountainous areas, maybe bicycle's not the best option, right? Know where we're talking about. Or in certain parts of Northern Africa, women, girls are not encouraged to ride bicycles. Well, most of our programs are girls, women focused, so probably not a great opportunity there as well. Some areas, bicycles simply are not part of the culture. Quite frankly, we found that in the South Africa context and made a decision a couple of years ago to move out of South Africa and actually move into Malawi. And the third is where we can have a social enterprise impact. So where can we support our philanthropic programs with the social enterprise for that supply chain of spare parts, those trained field mechanics. Because we don't think about the number of bicycles that we've delivered today. I'm more interested in measuring what's that bicycle look like in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And so for us, core to our organization has been and continues to be monitoring and evaluation, which is basically doing what is the impact your program's doing. Very excited to share that in 2 months, we'll be launching the results of a randomized control trial, which is the gold standard of monitoring. It's done by a third-party organization called Innovations for Poverty Action. And it was done on 100 schools, 2,500 girls, about 5,000 bicycles going into the southern province of Zambia over a year to measure attendance, academic performance, and empowerment. And the results look freaking awesome. So we're really excited to have that come out. And that's the stuff that we can take to go knock on Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or go talk to more people at USAID and other groups at UNICEF saying, you know what, bicycles make a difference to access education. We need to get more young girls on bicycles. How can we do it? So that's the sort of the strategic things that I'm looking at.
And the second question was right there, black shirt.
Okay, my question's more brass tacks and kind of detail oriented, but what happens when one of these girls gets a flat tire? Do you like teach them how to change the tire and give them some equipment to do so? And then the second part of the question is, they have signed a contract for 2 years, and what happens after 2 years? They have to get the bicycle back, can they re-up? What happens to those bicycles that have been used for 2 years?
Yeah, so great questions. And first, it goes back to what I was talking about as far as sustainable impact, right? So it's about not necessarily about the number of bicycles that we've delivered, but have we created that ecosystem of sustainability. So each bicycle, when it goes out into a school situation, does go out with a patch kit. It does go out, there's basic training that's done as far as bicycle maintenance and repair. And most importantly, we've trained over 2,000 bicycle field mechanics in the communities where we implement programs Typically, we use the ratio of 1 mechanic for every 100 bicycles that goes out. So they come to the school to do preventative maintenance on those bicycles, to tighten things up, basically, make sure and do the adjustments and swap out. So thinking through and evolving over time, how do we keep that sustainability of spare parts is really important. So that's the field mechanics, preventative maintenance. Each bicycle goes out with a how to repair a puncture ID kit, but it doesn't use words, it uses pictures. So we have those type of things sort of thinking through. As it relates to the, we had a 2-year service to own contract, basically. And the contract's a really important part because it creates that community awareness. It's actually a social contract that the community knows why these bicycles are being used. That's primarily for the young women. And getting the traditional leaders, the chief and the chieftainess and the head men and the head women on board and part of that community ownership is a really important part in the areas that we're operating. We've actually evolved that to be not just 2 years, but it's actually through graduation. So we've changed that. We've evolved that over time based upon our, all answers are found in the field. That's our motto as an organization. So based upon working in these communities, working with the traditional leaders, if our goal is to educate girls, then let's get them through grade 12. And so at the end of that, then that bicycle becomes their property.
I know let's take a final question in the back row over there. The black shirt again, popular color tonight.
Thank you very much. So I see 3 different businesses and 3 different business models on the panel, and I'm curious, what business model do you think will carry World Bicycle Relief further, and do you think that the B Corp model is sustainable for what you're doing overseas, and could that help?
We're not set up necessarily as a B Corp. We're set up as a for-profit, limited by shares company. All the shares are owned by World Bicycle Relief. To me, the social enterprise aspect is what will carry the day. There are over 500 million people living in sub-Saharan Africa that are in the rural areas. Primarily, they're walking, right? So the opportunity, the need is massive. So if we are able to provide the right value proposition, the right bicycle at the right quality and at the right price, to me, that's how you are able to do millions. We're never going to be, as a philanthropic organization, be able to raise enough money to meet the need. We can set up a business or a system that meets the needs of those folks. And so it's a question of product development, distribution through these Buffalo Bicycle shops, and then access through financial mechanisms. So microfinance, an ability for them to pay over time.
Well, I have so many questions that I could keep asking, but mindful of the time, we'll wrap it up here, and I think folks are around to kind of mingle afterwards. I'll say that in a kind of a time where headlines can make me pretty cynical and skeptical, the 3 of you have really inspired me and give me a lot of hope. So thank you for that. I think one of the things that I'm also taking from all of your comments, whether that's starting a business with a longtime friend of yours or the daily kindness that really makes the difference in our lives, is just the importance of relationships and this community, not only that we have here, but how we expand that, to people who don't look like us, or people who don't necessarily think like us always, but have so much in common with us. So on that note, please join me in thanking these panelists and go make some relationships of your own over some great Equator coffee and summer.
Okay, thank you so much.
So just to do a couple logistical things. One is a huge thanks to Equator Coffees for hosting us this evening, for the food that they provided and the coffee they provided, and also Sufferfest and Cliff Family Winery, who are here with us this evening out of the generosity of their hearts. We're looking at continued partnerships with them. In fact, we have some rides coming up, so if you're interested in participating, we will be having a ride with Cliff Family Winery and Equator, both. Those are on the calendar, which you'll see scroll here on the next slide. I timed that not as well as I hoped. So please come out and ride with us. I also want to see, is Louisa and Jennifer, where are you guys at? Okay, so would you guys mind going and giving the packages behind the registration table? So we have thank you gifts for our lovely panelists. We also have gifts for all of you, but I'll get to that in a second. So Louisa and Jennifer, who are walking away but will be coming back, they are our founding members of Leaders in Motion, which is our new young professionals group that we have started in the Bay Area. We're looking to scale that across WBR, but they have been amazing. So if you're at all interested or have referrals for this group, they're planning on doing an event this summer with Filmed by Bike. We're going to be doing maybe even at Proof Lab, one of the locations at Equator. So please share your interest with them. They are here for you. And we have, let's see. Thank you, Karin. Have a package for you. Thank you so much for coming all the way from LA just for this evening. Helen, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your generous heart.
Wow.
Joy, we have one for you. And Mark, we have one for you. I didn't get Dave, my boss, anything. I actually found a World's Best Boss mug, and I was like, oh, that kind of be weird, so I'll give it to him later. So thank you all again. I know Helen probably wants to close us out with, I'm assuming,
I'm going to
something.
sing. No, I'm going to close us out with, we have half-pound bags of World Bicycle Relief Blend that Equator put together. So we actually, if you go online and order World Bicycle Relief Blend, every bag we send $2 to World Bicycle Relief. So it's $140 for a bike, right? So everybody buys a bag of coffee online. Guess what? We have a bike. So, but help yourselves. We brought those to you. And thank you all for coming and enjoying this incredible evening. And I hope to see you all at Equator. And let's get this done. Let's do it. Let's go to Zambia. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Coffee's right over there.